One of the most influential groups in hip hop, paved the way, not just for rappers, but for the entire music industry. I'm joined by DJ Yella and Arabian Prince, founding members of the group N.W.A, and Lil Eazy, son of the legendary Eazy-E, to dive into the impact of how growing up in Compton shaped their music and lives. So we all grew up somewhere in L.A., even though Lil E, you know, he gonna say it's Compton, which it is Compton. You know, you got your own city rules, you got your own everything in terms of the fire department, and own mayor, and just, you know, whole every Killer King. Is Killer King still available?
Killer King.
It's just no trauma unit no more.
Yeah.
No more trauma unit.
No,
Really?
They gotta go to Harvard now.
Is that right? Oh. I didn't even know that at all. I remember they talked about rebuilding it back.
Yeah.
The hospital.
They did.
It was Martin Luther King. Yeah. Was it Martin Luther King General Hospital? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
It was called that, and then for a minute, it was called Killer King because all the bodies that went there never came out.
Never came out.
And so
and politically, we can understand why they turned down the trauma unit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Fly you this way. Hopefully, you ain't gonna make it. But by the time we get there,
So E, tell me your first founding memories of growing up in Compton, because you're younger than all of us.
Most definitely, yeah. Really just, you know, my grandmother, it's really just my grandmother, my mother, and my father. You know what I mean? My memories were just, it was, to tell you the truth, Keyshawn, it was, people ask me that question and I'm like, I don't see it in the sense of what probably looking for the answer, because I always thought it was equivalent to Beverly Hills. It was peaceful. My grandmother made it just nice. You know what I mean? You hear everything, but it's like, you know, we walk in the house, you can eat off the floor and any other. So, you know, Compton was just, I love it. I love my city. So it was kind of like, you know, like, what you call that, Michael Jackson's
Never Never Land?
It was like Never Never Land. You know, it was home.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? But as a kid, you know, you hear, again, the difference of it, because when I did go with my dad's, it was a lot different. I go to Woodland Hills. He was in Woodland Hills at the time, if not Norwalk. And then when you come back home, you just knew the feel of it when you hear the sirens, you know what I mean? It seems like it's gloomy at night, it's dark, but, you know, just still, it was like, it was no place like home. You feel what I'm saying?
What was your early memories, Yella, growing up in Compton?
You know something? Because I lived kind of on the west side at the end, next to
Close
Gardena.
to LA.
It was Gardena, Carson,
Yeah.
all that was there. You know, it was cool. It wasn't no gangs, not in my early days. It wasn't no kind of gangs, not really. Few Sherm heads and stuff like that, but that's everywhere. But Compton was actually, because I'm the only one from the group that went to Compton High.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Everybody else was we on the east side. He west
Yeah,
side.
they went to Dominguez and all.
Yeah, he a west side baby, so he further up going towards LA.
What about you, Arabian?
I lived down the street from Centennial High School.
Okay.
Right by the projects. We was right by both Dixon Garden and Eugenia Village, like right over that little area between Watts and Compton.
Yeah. Okay.
So where I was at, it was bad, because I was right next to the brickyards, and you would remember, what was it called, Farmers Market?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there.
So I was in that little area, so it wasn't that nice, because we was right by that park. What was that park?
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez
No,
and Dalton.
not Gonzalez, but
Dalton Park?
No, the one right across from.
That was the one that was Magic's Park they had changed to.
Yeah,
but it's finding bodies in the lake.
We lived on that cul-de-sac by the park, and I couldn't go to the park or the liquor store.
See, I'm gonna y'all up though. You know, when you grow up in LA and you grow up in poverty, like many of us have, you move around to different spots. So growing up as a kid, my mom obviously couldn't afford a lot of different things. So we had to move around and bounce around. You know, I wind up in Compton.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, tell them. Alondra in Wimbledon, right behind the KFC chicken, KFC.
Yeah.
Right there, I used to catch the green leaf bus coming from LA. I used to catch the green line, the green leaf bus or whatever, in the middle of the night when I was coming from hanging out in LA. I used to get off the bus right there by the Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I lived about 2 blocks from there behind it. I used to run, because I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? I just didn't know. Compton, that shit was like the music and the gang culture, So I stayed there. We stayed there for like 2 years. You know, then mom moved me back to South Central.
You got a little water. I wonder how you athlete you was. You got some water in you. You got some of that Compton water in you.
I know.
Yeah, you on the west side, yeah.
And so growing up, and from a gang culture standpoint, so I grew up in the fruit towns where all the Bloods are, right? So I know all that the Nickersons. I'm embedded into it. You know, I just figured a way out of it and maneuver the athletic ability to get me up out the streets with many of my homies and stuff like that. Just never really, they kept going down that avenue that wasn't probably the proper avenue to go down. How you think gang culture, if at all, shaped your thought processes that I don't want to really get deeply involved in that? I'm gonna stay in the music game.
So what was crazy is my uncles back then, they was called the James Boys, and they kind of ran that side of Compton. Matter of fact, Centennial High School, there was a story my uncle told me, and this is what kept me out of gangs. My uncle, this was before the Crips started. Right, so they went way back, like 70s or whatever. The leader of the Crips came to Centennial to recruit, and my uncle beat him up.
Wow. So that didn't go too well.
No, because they shot him next day. They tried to shoot him.
So you're not talking about Tookie, or you know about Raymond?
No, this is about Tookie.
Tookie was already probably in prison by then.
No, not in the 70s. Tookie was.
Oh, you said 70s?
70s. This is back when I was a kid.
Wow.
And I used to see all that. My uncle coming home, shot and all that. And it was like, you don't want this. And I remember one day I was at the liquor store I told you I wasn't supposed to go to. Uncles took me out in the street, put my face in the gutter, and put his foot on back of my head. It was like, you like that? Go on down there and see what's gonna happen to you. Wow. Never did that. Wow. Never did it. Wow. Never got into it.
Well, how did it affect you?
You know something?
Did.
I guess because I was in the band at Compton for 2 years, junior and senior, and then I just jumped from that to the Eve After Dark DJing. So I kind of just escaped. You know, I just like, I thought more about the girls. Gang, I mean, I don't care about all that. This is what I like.
So I'm assuming based on your upbringing, Lil E, that you really didn't have to even really deal with that side of the world of the gang, because by the time you was a puppy. So by the time you got to be in adulthood, you was already indoctrinated into the music culture to the point where you really didn't have to deal other than jealousy, right? I mean, that's probably it, the jealous side.
It was the knuckleheaded boy that shouldn't have and didn't have to and did. So I was the one getting in a lot of trouble. I was the one, even still up until straight out of
Damn, he sound like his father.
I know, I just heard that.
That's crazy. The voice though.
Yeah.
It's crazy though. He sound just like he.
Yeah, so yeah, I was, dumb situations to where, I was just proving yourself. You know what I'm saying? You feel like, that's just, you always hear that you grow up with a silver spoon. So yeah, I was the one, the knucklehead. I kind of ran in the streets and did a lot of different things, started hustling, started doing everything that you felt your father had a reputation to do. I wanted to do it to the utmost. So what I used to tell people is like, he was known across all sides of Compton. You feel what I'm saying? And it was understanding as far as what side we come from. But me, is like I just wanted to take it and go upwards with it. Did I have to? No. As I it became a man, you understand, I did a lot of ignorant stuff I didn't have to do, getting into a different size. Next thing you know, I'm going to the park and finna, get around with some amigos, and here come my uncle outside. Lil Eric, what is you doing? You know what I mean? Why don't you call me? And all the situations, I didn't have to do it, but I did. Like I say, up until even when Straight Outta Compton was coming out, you got his cousin and Cube and them sending him to come sit me in jail. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because I missed a performance. I was supposed to perform with them for the BET experience. So, I always I was a knucklehead, you feel what I mean? And, me kind of just got attached to that. But I tell people it was like a brotherhood. It's like I just got identified as that anyway, as being Eazy-E's son, Kelly Park, neighborhood area. You know what I mean? That's where you from. That's what it is.
Kelly Park. So before we dive into the N.W.A. stories, Yella, what was your first introduction into music other than the band?
I guess DJing at the Eve After Dark, because that was kind of like the hottest spot. Avalon El Segundo.
Avalon El Segundo.
Yeah, upstairs. Yeah, right there, Avalon El Segundo. That was the spot right there for the 10-8.
Across from Clark's.
Yeah, from Clark's, the drugstore, yep. And the Ujima Village was right across the street. And it was just,
Is Ujima Village still there?
It's there.
Yeah.
It was Magic Johnson Park.
Yeah.
The killings.
So, finding bodies.
Matter of fact, Ujima Village ain't there no more.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, they tore the house down.
Yeah, the Ujima Village.
The apartment's down.
Yeah. For sure. What about you, Arabian?
Well, I started DJing when I was like 14, 15, doing all the elementary school dances. and my mom's was a classical pianist, and my father had a radio show at K-Ace. So I would go to K-Ace on Sunday and sit in the control room while he was doing the talk show and putting the carts in and making mixtapes and selling them at school for lunch money. So that's kind of how I got in.
Wow.
What was the first, I guess, rap album or whatnot you purchased with your money?
Would have to be
Sugar Hill Gang.
Sugar Hill. Yeah, definitely Sugar
I knew he
Hill.
was gonna say that. I knew that though. Had to be, because that's way back.
Yep, 79.
Yes.
79, 80. Yeah.
What about you, Lil E? With your own money, no, not
With my
something
own-
somebody done gave you.
First one, to be real with you, was DMX.
No,
You know what I
okay.
mean? Of course, when I started, purchasing my own, music was DMX. You know what I mean? That's what I figured.
Sure they wasn't downloading it? They young.
No, they went down.
Nah, we still had the box back then, man. You know,
No,
stop.
yeah, he was a CD baby.
Yeah, I was.
For sure.
Yeah.
What about you, Arabian?
I got one for you. Super Rhymes.
Oh, yeah.
Who was Super Ron?
You don't know Super Rhymes? The 15-minute rap?
Yeah, 15 minutes. He rapped for
15-minute nonstop.
Oh
No
God, I thought y'all was about to say, my man. What was my man from Compton?
Oh, Tidy T?
Not Tidy T.
King T.
Spade?
Spade, Mixed Master.
Spade.
Well,
Mixed
Tidy T
Master.
was
Spade
was the
Come on,
game.
you know it.
Yeah, I was thinking Mixed Master, but then again, y'all about the same age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we was
Plus or
around the
minus,
same
right?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't know. He don't know.
Nah, he had no.
No, you don't know about that.
Come
You don't
on,
know about
y'all
that.
stop.
No, you don't know
Really?
about that.
Yeah.
No, you can't possibly know. You might know, but you don't know. Tell me how. I know how he got his name, but how did you get your name in the rap game?
So I used to go by DJ Prince. And
Okay.
there's still some pictures floating around. Hopefully nobody see them. I used to dress like Prince. I used to dress like Morris Day at the time when it was in the wrecking crew.
I seen Drake.
Yeah.
With the sequence on.
Yeah, but that was it. I'll tell anybody, if you are our age and you was growing up in the hood, you either look like Prince, Michael Jackson, Depeche Mode. It was dudes, mods. They had on like the suspenders with the white glove, pop locking. Everybody had a look in the 80s.
I never had a curl, but I understand.
Yeah, but they was gangbangers though. They were still gangbangers, but they looked like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
But I got my name. I used to hang around with my boy Egyptian Lover. We used to DJ.
Oh, Egyptian
together.
Lover, yeah.
So I was DJ Prince. He was Egyptian Lover. And some random girl
Egyptian
at
Lover.
Skateland, USA. in
Skateland.
Compton, came up to me. And
No,
said,
no,
"You should
we
call-"
was Skateland.
Yeah.
No, Skateland was on Compton, right there on Avalon.
Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
Egypt and them was, what was the place you guys used to have the dances?
Oh, at
World, no, that's
World on Wheels, and
World on
we
Wheels?
was at the convention center and the the convention center.
Penthouse. They had a place called
the
Playpen.
The Playpen.
I don't know the Playpen.
That was on Crenshaw.
Yeah, it didn't last
Upstairs.
long, but
Yeah.
No, the one in Compton, though, Skateland.
Skateland, that was
Skateland.
us. Yeah.
That's where I got my name.
Man,
Will gave it to me.
I'll tell you a story about Skateland. So I'm coming back from Skateland, and I'm like something like you, but I figured it out. I'm with some of my brother's friends at Skateland. I'm young. I'm a teenager. I think at this point, man, I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
So we coming back from Skateland, and I don't know why the fuck I got in the car with them and not with my brother and them. So I got in the car with them, and we coming down Avalon, and all of a sudden the windshield, the back window exploded. I was shooting at the car because I was with a bunch of Bloods.
Oh,
and ain't no way in the world I should have been in that car when I was so young dealing with them. Yeah, that was skate. That was the first and the last time I ever been to Skateland.
There you go.
First and the last time I ever been to Skateland.
Ask LL Cool J about Skateland too.
What happened to him?
Tell him, y'all
Tell me that story, yo.
They ran him out of there too. I mean, that place was just different.
It was different, no, for
Yeah.
real. I was a 13-year-old kid, but knew, I knew the game, but it just was.
Yeah, because it was different. So many different games. You got Watts.
Yeah.
and, you get.
It's in the
Bugs
middle of
and
everything.
Fred. Yeah, it's like you better not be having no colors on to coming up in there. Boy.
And LL came in there with some colors on. Yeah, but
Yeah,
all
from
that
New
red.
York. Yeah.
He ain't knowing no better.
didn't
He wrong neighborhood, wrong situation,
Yeah.
wrong timing. All of those things it'll get you every single time. So Yella, how did you get the origin of your name? Like, where did that come from, other than your skin tone?
Now you remember the Jeans to Love the song?
No.
Gee,
Come on,
Give it to me. Give it to me.
Really?
Give it to me. I'll
what you gonna do when you get out of jail?
Oh yeah.
I'm
gonna cut
So on the B
fun.
side, it was Mr. Yella was on it. And the first word when you put the record on, it said Yella. And I'm like, and unknown DJ said, that's your name right there.
You know, I thought he got it because of his skin tone.
Well, Yella, Unknown looked at him and said, that's why.
Yeah, but the record, so I can, Yella, I can scratch it, you know, back
I didn't know that. I just automatically assume when you look at the album or you look at him or what, I'm like, oh yeah, he light skinned, so they gonna yellow.
Cube was just as light.
No, Cube ain't.
Cube was not dark.
Man, Cube is not as light as you.
You pale about your
You red. When you look how red he turned. No, for real, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, so it came from that.
On the record, yeah.
Oh, now that you told me, let me ask you this though. So the turntables and stuff was way different now.
Well, they digital now.
How complicated is it working with the digital stuff versus the shit?
She actually is easy.
It's way easier.
Because back then we carried crates. You
Yeah,
know,
y'all had
when you
crates.
DJ for a set, you at least have one crate with like 50 records.
Yeah.
You know, turntables, heavy. You know, now we do a show. My controller's this small, and my laptop.
So you still could do the same stuff though.
not
Even
scratching.
better.
Not scratching.
Oh, you can't scratch.
Yeah, because it don't have no platters. Because flying, you can't carry all this stuff.
So if you scratching, if a song needs you to scratch,
Don't need a scratch. We won't scratch.
but how you gonna mix?
Use the voice. I just talk, boom, we bam, and do the song.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's good.
And he got one customized to him where it got smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Off
used to
my
carry a big
iPad.
bag. Now he carries
Yeah.
a little
So you ain't even working off DATs or nothing.
Nah.
That shit old.
Oh, that's old. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know a little bit. You know about a dad.
Man, okay. the reason, here's the story. So here's why I know about the DAT. This is how I first learned about the DAT. So in '96 was my draft party at the House of Blues. So not N.W.A, what the hell, West Side Connect performed, Coolio performed. He just came off the Grammy. And Suge and Pac and Hammer and I don't know who Pooh, Suge, Pac, Hammer, somebody else. Oh, Snoop. They came.
You had a party.
Come on, man, stop that, man. That shit is crazy. At the House, it was crazy. It was 2,000 people packed, another 3,000 in the streets of Sunset. It was off the chain. And so Suge kept around prior to that. We kept trying to tell him, man, we gotta have this book with these people because they need to do the rehearsal. And you know, oh, that we gonna take this shit to the.
Nah.
So now Coolio performed. Westside Connect opened up for Coolio. Boom, did the whole thing. Now here comes Suge now. They want to go and take the DAT and put the shit in and take over, even though if you would have booked this shit and did it the right way, but he came at the 11th hour wanting to you. I'm like, come on, man, we can't just we ain't doing that. But I go at the end of the day, I wanted them to be able to perform.
Right.
But yeah, that's how I learned about the DAT.
Yeah.
That's how I learned about it. So how did N.W.A come about, and what was the meetings of minds like? Did one person take the lead? Did the name materialize? Did Big E all of a sudden say, no, I want to do it this way? Was it like a Dre thing? Like who came up with the N.W.A?
So here's the funny thing. There's still a fight over who came up with the name, right?
I know who came up with the name. It was a group called Yomo Markey.
Oh, yeah.
A guy named Yomo. He
I just
came
bumped
up
into him.
with N.W.A. With attitude. I'm like, that's a straight, because you couldn't say the word just in public back then.
Yeah.
You have to
You can't say it now in public. They do, but you can't now.
But now everybody say it.
Yeah.
But back then, it was just a new thing because I remember the wrecking crew, we wasn't making no money. So I had to go get a valet job. So Dre and his dad, they did the Boys in the Hood because it was supposed to have been New York guy, this New York group.
Yeah.
And they thought they were just too from New York to do it. Talking about the streets and all that. And his daddy did it. And then I remember Dre asked me, he said, hey, I'm starting this group. You want to come with me? I said, hell yeah, I want to go. I'm good. I ain't making no money in a wrecking crew. So.
Yeah.
And then we just got together. And the thing about it, it was like bringing different groups, Arabian, different people from different groups to make one super group.
And already had hits out. Everybody had hits before then. So people already knew who we were, on the radio.
Did y'all look at the name and think maybe it was too, maybe y'all did or didn't?
Well, even the
Controversial for
lyrics. The
mainstream?
lyrics was, we wasn't getting on no radio play.
On my job.
Yeah.
That was a B-side.
Yeah, it was just like, the key was we did what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's the key. Either you like it or you don't like it. And it just got accepted. Like, who don't cuss in the hoods? And the hoods are all over the world.
Yeah.
So they can just relate. And then when the suburbs related to, that's it.
Took off.
Go on to the top.
So when you really heard about it growing up, E, and you just knew N.W.A, or did you really fully, truly understand what that name meant to the rap culture?
Nah, I didn't. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't even fully understand the popularity of my father up until 7 or 8. You know, I mean, he used to tell people, you know, you go to Disneyland with your dad, and he used to take, the reason why he was gone in the White House, he used to take a lot of kids, inner city kids, youth kids, orphanage kids, and with us to Disneyland. And I tell people like, nah, I never knew how big my daddy was until I'm standing in line to take a picture of Mickey Mouse, and then he over here worried about taking a picture of my daddy. You know what I mean? So I was like, man, he's something. So it didn't dawn on me really. I was just a kid living, man. You know what I mean? Loving it.
Spending up that money. I know what you was doing.
Yeah. When he come through, and then like again, I stayed with his parents, and I never went anywhere but Compton. She had me. My grandmother had me since I was 2. So when holidays, anything, he'd come back to the city, and then when he come, everybody's coming. You know what I mean? And then I was telling somebody the other day, she's like, "You been there since you was 2?" I said, "Yeah, I remember when Dre was sleeping in the living room." You know what I'm saying? I remember when they used to come, you know what I mean, be out there, either come in and get something to eat or something like that. So, you know what I mean? I see them all the time, didn't think nothing of it. It was just my daddy with all his partners.
So in '89, the debut album came out in 1989, Yella and AP. Did y'all have like, I don't know if Dre was writing the music, I don't know who the hell was writing the music, but did y'all like go back and forth on who gonna write what verse and versus, like compete with each other, who gonna write what verse?
Well, the D.O.C. did a lot of writing.
Okay.
For his daddy.
Okay.
Cube did the writing. Ren did the writing.
Okay.
Dre didn't write.
Okay. He just mixed and produced.
Yeah.
Okay.
So me and him produced, Arabian. It's just.
Who started Cube, right?
Yeah, Cube.
And tell him how he started liking D.O.C's.
Yeah. What it was, his D.O.C. came from Texas. Dre found him and went out there. And when he got here, his writing was so different. His daddy started liking the way the D.O.C. do it. You know, it just had a flow. You listen to We Want Easy. It's a different flow from Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood was more choppy. And the other one,
it was
just flowing.
Lyrical modern creation.
Yeah, he really can flow to it. Because his daddy wasn't a natural rapper, so we had to take every line, pause, you know.
Yeah.
So, but by the time he got to the D.O.C., he can go 3 lines or 2 lines. So he just liked the flow. So
D.O.C.
did a
Doc
lot.
was the coldest verse writer then at that time.
Yeah, he would write his daddies. He would write Dre's lyrics.
Okay.
Ren write his own. Sometimes Ren wrote the earlier his daddies, 8 Balls and stuff like that. And then Cube, Boys in the Hood. So it wasn't nobody just, yeah, I'm the boss. No, it was never like that. It was like a cool family.
So when y'all came out with the Police, obviously that was like controversial, whatever the case is. Way back then, we obviously see some of the same things that to this day that took place way back then. They haven't changed their approach to the degree that we may have thought that was going to be the case. Right. It didn't really happen that way. You think nowadays, though, some of that influence from back then still carries over to this day?
I think so. And the crazy thing is, the reason the song, like, remember we used to go to the SWAT meet all the time in Compton? How many times did you get pulled over going to the Compton SWAT meet? Like every day. How many tickets did Eazy get in front of the studio?
Oh yeah. Well, we was in Torrance.
Well, yeah, we was in
Torrance.
They weren't playing.
No, Torrance
we
don't
wasn't
play.
supposed to.
Of course not at all.
We went. Yeah, this day. I don't go to Torrance.
Still don't play to this day.
Yeah. So that's what the song came about. It was just getting harassed for no reason.
That's so crazy though, because we grew up basically miles apart.
Yeah.
But we understand the same demographics and regions of where not to go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like it
wasn't written down.
We
but
wasn't going to.
You don't go to Torrance.
You don't go to Torrance. No, don't go to Torrance because they're gonna pull your ass over and they're gonna do you wrong.
Yeah.
And they're gonna treat you a certain way. You know, that's crazy. We wasn't going to Orange County really, unless it was on the freeway, going through Orange County.
Yeah.
It's pretty it's pretty crazy. But when y'all look back at the police, is it something that you stand by to this day, or you wish you didn't do it, or you saying to yourselves, well, we're glad we did do it because it may have shaped something in society today?
It had to be done, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know what it was? When we did the police song, it was really, we were saying what everybody wanted to say to the cop. Back in them days, you can't get no cop face and put a finger up and F you and no, you be
There wasn't no cameras.
pulling your teeth out.
There wasn't no
So we
social
just
media.
said
Yeah.
what everybody wanted to say.
Yeah, and then when you go back and you think about the '92 riots, this was before he was born. It became somewhat of a theme song for those Rodney King '92 riots.
Oh yeah, but it came more of a theme song on the George Floyd. Really, it was the #1 downloaded song in that summer, that whole summer.
Wow.
So more than back then.
So you got two incidents at different time periods in culture, and then all of a sudden, this song is the theme song for George Floyd, but at the same time, Rodney King too, with two black, basically motorists, even though he was sitting in the car versus driving. One survived the beating, the other one wound up dying. Man, I didn't know that. I had no idea about the theme song part of it. Do you think that some people in society, even then and now, think that N.W.A.'s way of doing things, Lil E, kind of like promotes violence to some degree? You think people think that way? Because remember, who was it? It was the Reagans or the Bushes or that particular administration?
Bushes, probably.
Bushes and Reagans had issues with N.W.A.
Most definitely did. It gets tagged as that, like they were pushing. I think I seen an interview as well where individuals said, N.W.A. kind of messed up, the hip hop culture and all that. But again, like Arabian said, they all were just speaking on what we went through. You know what I'm saying? Our life, you feel what I'm saying? Giving a depiction of our story, just like anybody else does storytelling and music. You feel what I'm saying? It's just the fact that they stood strong and spoke out loud about what was going on and said, hey, we not finna go through this. Individuals said to take it as in, well, yeah, they gave us enough to beat our chests and stand up, you know what I mean? So they kind of pushed us this way, you feel what I mean? So you can take it either way. Me, myself is, again, we just telling you how it is in the city.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna say this real quick. If you wanna blame anybody, blame Tipper Gore, because remember, we was doing a show somewhere, I think we was in Texas, and N.W.A., the music had kind of started to go across the country a little bit, and two reasons it went across the country. One, we were getting bootlegged by Don McMillan over in Cola Records, because he was taking the records, because we had our own record label.
Pressing them
ourselves. But he was pressing them in the back, sending them across the country. So we getting phone calls from Florida, Texas, places like that, like, how they know about it? Because he was selling them out the back door. Mm-hmm. But then Tipper Gore took the N.W.A. records and 2 Live Crew on national television on the news and was burning them and, doing all that stuff.
When they used to get the steamrollers and roll them around. I'm looking at them when they do it. I said, they bought them?
Yeah.
But nowadays, the social media is the marketing tool, so to speak, to push albums and whatnot. Now, you go back and look at that was what was, people say, well, let me go out there. People in Milwaukee, they like, let me go find this N.W.A. album.
See what this is about.
See what it's all about.
For real.
And where was you at in '92 during the riots? I know where I was at. I was looting.
So I'm gonna tell
I know exactly what I was doing.
His daddy was looting.
Hey,
I know exactly what I was doing.
I was at my mama's house in Inglewood when the riot started, but I had moved to Burbank. So I was living in Burbank at the time. I was trying to get home.
Yeah.
And I remember driving down La Cienega. I had that brand new Porsche I had bought, right? So I'm like driving down just like this. As soon as I got to where the riot part was, because there used to be a Guitar Center on La Cienega. They were stealing everything out the Guitar Center. I'm rolling.
Oh yeah, we were stealing everything out the Guitar Center right there by Target.
Well, you probably saw me.
By Target, by El Pollo Loco, right there.
Yeah, right on. As soon as I got to Burbank, I was like, here's my ID. I live in this address right here. And they had Burbank closed up.
Yeah, La Cienega right there on La Cienega in Mansfield neighborhood. Past the 10 freeway on the left-hand side, right there with Target and El Pollo Loco and everything. We tore that up. But this is what, you know how I go, man. You following everybody in front of you, all
yeah.
your little compadres, your little homies, everybody. We just doing what we did. I'm not ashamed about it. I tell people all the time, when you grow up the way we grew up, and you see some of the things that was done to us, and we now have the opportunity to take back what we think it was ours in the beginning, well, that's just something that we do. So sorry to you folks that may think that we are violent. That's not the case. That's not the case at all. When did y'all first realize that y'all was some local stars, all three of y'all? When did y'all finally realize that the Palladium was actually something that y'all could play at?
We never performed at the Palladium.
Really?
No.
Never. They just,
Y'all had
Palladium was the spot.
Roxy?
No.
No Palladium, no Roxy.
Nah.
Went from small to big.
Yeah.
To arenas.
No.
To arenas.
We
I
was
would
at
have
the,
sworn if somebody said, hey, bet, I'd have been like, they own the Palladium. They was letting New Edition perform
We
at the
did the
Palladium.
Celebrity Auditorium, the one that spun, remember?
Oh, you
Yeah,
mean
the
downtown?
No, it was
No, Anaheim.
No, that's the downtown auditorium is, what was that, the LA
we
auditorium?
didn't do no LA shows.
Nope.
Damn,
South
really?
Beach.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Why you think that is?
They just,
Probably was too dangerous.
they just wouldn't let us. I mean, I don't know why we didn't do any LA shows.
No.
See, I don't ever remember any violence at any of y'all concerts.
It wasn't. Except the Detroit, but
then
that
they
was the
started
police.
Yeah, they started that. Yeah.
But
They started that Detroit thing, the police?
Oh, yeah.
See, I just don't remember growing up. I don't remember saying that thousands of people was trampled.
yeah,
or-
they thought that.
Yeah.
They thought that, okay, because on our tour, 40 shows, 40 nights, no violence, zero, until the police started it in Detroit.
That's kind
But
of.
they couldn't understand, like, wait a minute, because you got to think about it, the audience, 90% was white.
Like a mud.
90%
Well, that's always the case.
Yeah.
I mean, let's keep it a buck now. That's always gonna be the case, right? I mean, they gonna wear the same clothes. They gonna
Yeah.
get the tax. They gonna get the jury. They may be not even telling their parents. So
Oh, yeah,
funny.
yeah.
It's so funny, man. I was out this past. I was on vacation and we was out and hanging out. And one of my buddies told one little white girl. She was talking to her, flirting with him or whatever the case is, and he was like, oh, you like that chocolate, And so you ain't told your grandparents, we know. And everybody around it just fell out laughing. I was like, Lord have mercy. Oh my God. Because it's true though. That's just the way the world works, man. Growing up, for myself, my mother, if I was around a white girl, my mother would be like, what are you doing? Because that's society. But what we're not gonna do, we're not gonna pass over the fact that the N.W.A, as we can see, all black, silver, Raider fans, the whole deal. Man, how the fuck you wind up a Ram fan?
This is the truth. I was the only football fan. Nobody else was football fans at all. We wore the gear, but at that time, the Rams blue was a different kind of blue.
Yeah, it was the royal blue, right?
Yeah, and it just didn't really have nothing to wear. The Raiders gear just fit right there.
Yeah.
It just like, and then the Kings went to black. And after that, all the teams got some kind of black. I'm like, man, they need to be paying us. Because we changed the look of football.
In 91, I can say this for life, was the group's final album. Y'all better not say it over there. The group broke up. But y'all still had the number one, it was number one on the charts. And the group kind of just went its own separate ways at that point in time. So AP, you were the first one to leave N.W.A, the group. How did you feel after you saw the rest of the group decide that they gonna part ways?
I'm gonna tell it like it is. You only know where I'm going with this one. Because I was the first one to leave, because I left right in the middle of Straight Outta Compton album.
Okay,
Right.
yeah.
It was our manager, Jerry Heller.
Oh.
And none of these fools will listen to me. I'm gonna tell it like it is. I told him, I told Dre, I told everybody, I'm like, man, he ripping us off. Like, this ain't the thing. And I had done that song Supersonic for JJ.
Supersonic.
Right. So I did that record, and it was blowing up at the time. And it was on Dream Team Records. And I was getting ripped off by, rest in peace, I ain't gonna say anything about it, but over there, so I brought the record to Ruthless, because we had just started that label. and talked to Jerry and was like, all right, and Easy. And they was like, are we going to bring this over here? Came over, put it out. It started making a gang of money. And I wasn't getting paid. And I'm like, tell everybody. And I'm like, I talked to Jerry. Jerry kept giving me stories. So I got an attorney and I left. And I got paid and then went on my way. And I remember I came to that concert and I told you when I had got that Porsche, remember? I got that little Porsche, came to the concert. I'm like, yeah, y'all better talk to somebody.
So when you realized that Jerry Heller, what was it, the Vaseline, no grease, or whatever that shit was called.
No Vaseline.
Yeah, no Vaseline, no grease, whatever. When you realized that he might have been not being honest with you in the group, did you want to do something to him? Like, did you want to physically put hands on him?
Oh, no, I did, but my uncle, my mom was like, no, go get your money.
Yeah.
Because they'll go to jail over no stupid enough, get you an attorney and get your money. And then once I figured it out and realized, I had to deal with Capitol Records for a minute, EMI, and when I went independent, and I realized instead of making, 75 cents a record or barely, $1 a record, I was making $10 a record.
Yeah.
Putting my own stuff out.
Yeah.
So I was happy.
Getting your money.
So figuring out business. Yes, sir.
Well, this was the key to management. He getting 20%. Okay, that's.
Man, I know Jerry.
That's
I sat down with Jerry at Monty's and had, you know what I'm saying? I might go to Monty's after I leave here, to be honest with you. But I'm sitting down eating with him, and he just was telling me all about y'all. He just, how Jerry, he was older before he passed away. But go ahead.
So he's getting paid 20%. Okay, off the group.
Yeah.
But he also was getting 20% off the label. And that was like making more than
40%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he having his daddy, his daddy, just like us, don't know nothing.
Not from there. Yeah.
So whatever people thought of his daddy, Jerry would just sign this. I don't know. All he know is just millions of dollars.
Getting money.
And I'm driving this, I'm driving it, That's all he knows.
If you're getting 2, but you're really supposed to be getting 8, you just 2 is like, I ain't never had 3, so let me take that 2.
Yeah.
I get it, I understand it. What you remember about them days growing up and why the group fell apart, E?
When you was, okay, I'm gonna be real. When you was younger, we always used to thought at that time, and I respect him to the utmost, that when Q was the first real thought process of leaving, you feel what I'm saying? And being younger, you just hear around it, either be from my cousins, my uncles, or that, like he wanted to be or have what your daddy had. You feel what I mean? So I was always sitting there with the knowledge of sitting there saying like, hey, okay, they kind of mad they not making money as he is, not doing what he is. And then when you sit here young, you really know that. And to be real, Q wanted a Jerry curl, a Volkswagen, and a chain for Boys in the Hood. You know what I mean? And he got a Volkswagen with the cover with no body, no frame with it, got his chain, got his curl. So, this is the knowledge that I'm telling you. So as a kid, you think, oh, well, he got what he want. Why is everybody, upset about it? You feel what I mean? So from that point on, it was just more so a money thing that, to my knowledge from family, that I'm getting, like, they don't feel they're getting what they want, they're supposed to from your father.
Yeah.
I don't know about the whole Jerry thing at that time. I don't even know nothing too much of him. Seen him as a kid and all the other. I don't know about managers when I'm a kid and all that together. So it's lost to me, you feel what I'm saying, of what's going on. So that's
I'm going to tell you what destroyed the group. It wasn't the group.
Yeah.
The group was cool. No arguments, no better, nothing. It's the second ring of the group. Telling individuals whatever they telling them.
Yeah.
That's what broke the group up. You should be getting this, you should be getting that.
Lawyers, corporate America, all that type.
Now, they say now be real. Now my second story was, and we being just straight honest, and I'm just a real person, I can't real, is like he said, which made me touch on that part, is now here comes Dre.
Yeah.
But it was outside individuals, speaking of Dre, that here comes this individual they gonna send there to tell him, hey, you not getting what you're supposed to, which we all know was Suge.
Yeah.
You feel
So
what
it
I mean?
became a whole.
Like he said, like Yella said, the outside force.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Everybody else was, like he said, straight. Everybody outside. Well, man, this going on. Easy getting this, Easy driving this, Easy got this.
Yeah, I seen Easy, man. I was on the bus. Oh, I'm my freshman year. No, it was our senior year. We going to play out in Corona or some shit. I don't know if it was moms. I don't know who was with him. But god damn, he was in a white on white 850.
Yeah.
And we saw, you know, we looked, you know, we at the getting ready to get on the freeway, and we all stopped, and he pulled right to the side. It was before we made that. I remember like it was yesterday. When we going out to like Corona or somewhere to play a game. Man, he jumped on the freeway. We could see in the car because the sunroof was open.
Yeah.
And we could see the girl. I was like, God damn, man, that's, you know, that's easy, man. He got a bad one in that 850. That shit was white on white. I was like, damn, this was like, I want to say about like 90, I want to say 93, 92. I remember it like it was yesterday, man. It was crazy though. Oh, wow, that was, yeah, he was for sure getting his money.
He had the first 600 out here.
Uh-huh.
The first 600. One of the first 850s.
Man, that white
750.
That white on white 850 looked like it came from Miami with Miami Vice. It was clean. It was.
You know, so
it was that thing.
It's just okay. Well, you supposed to be moving around like how he moving around. So the outside force came in and threw a wrench into the whole group. You know, and then as you get older, you see or think about it like, you know, just like my main thing. One of the favorite ones in the group was Cube. Like, man, you know, should have did what we supposed to do to keep them around. Me not knowing what this manager doing. Me not knowing what Jelly Heller's role is at all. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I want you guys to share a little bit about, you know, Dr. Dre and his influence in this rap game and the way his style and just how he has been able to just move on from the sequence to where he is to this day in the industry as a whole, having worked with him before. Tell me a little bit about him, Arabian.
Workaholic, right? Yella? I mean, just like in the studio, damn near perfectionist. You know what I mean? Like do it over, get it right, you know. So I think, and what I tell a lot of people, what they don't really know, when we were in the studio, he would sit there with Donovan, who was the engineer, who owned Audio Achievements in Torrance, and learned every knob, you too, every knob on the mixing board until you really didn't see Donovan much anymore.
Yeah, we didn't need him. We just, okay, hook it
Once
up.
Dre learned it, it was like time to slide.
Yeah, took it over and started doing everything. So I would say for me, it's perfectionist. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he was, we were just, both of us, you know, we, from the Wrecking Crew, we learned everything in the studio.
Yeah.
The first time we did a song, he paid a guy come and he bring the keyboards and the drum machine and all that. After that, all us. We learned every inch, you know, everything.
I saw whatever the board is back then, that shit look hard.
But you know something, when you look at the board.
I mean, it just look hard. I'm like.
You know what makes it easy? You look at the board. One row is the same all the way across.
All the way across.
Once you learn this one row, that's it.
Yeah, but you still got to know volumes and knobs and.
One row. You learn one row with the EQ, the volume, the pan, all that. Once you know that one row, you'll know 100 rows.
So when you and Eazy discovered Bone Thugs and Harmony in Cleveland.
Well,
right, Cleveland?
The truth is, I don't like to say it, but I just saw him first.
Yeah, that's okay.
We was in Cleveland doing the show.
Yeah, stop being so humble. Even when he asked about Dre, tell him he taught Dre a lot of stuff.
No, I'm just acting. I want to get everybody, you know.
Yeah, he being too humble. He taught Dre a lot of stuff. He discovered them. So yeah.
Yeah, they came to me rapping, and I'm like, they singing, rapping. I'm like,
what is that?
What is that? Then his daddy was coming in the dressing room. I said, you see that the little guy over there? Go over there to him. And when we got off of that show, and a couple of days later got home, they was in L.A. They came on a bus ride from Cleveland on one bag of chips. One big bag of chips. They didn't have no money, nothing.
Why y'all didn't lace them?
I didn't even know they was coming.
Oh, you didn't know they was coming?
He did later. Though. He put them through like boot camp, you ask me.
Is that what he did? So when you go back, man, and you think Lil E back to March 26, 1995, obviously the world, me, everybody here that knew your dad, sudden death and shocked with Eazy. I mean, I lost my mom, so I know those emotions for me losing my mom. What was those emotions and going through you as a young man, realizing not only your father, but iconically one of, if not the biggest rap superstar at the time, was no longer with us?
Yeah, it was. I was numb for a while. to not even, you know, really have an emotion of what was actually going on, because it was so much. Like, you got to think as a kid, you know, we got like 3 or 4 calls that they pulled a plug or this happened before it actually really happened. So, you know what I mean? And my grandmother would be at the hospital. I went to the hospital when he had his surgery, and he, you know, they did the leakage of his lungs, and they did all that, and then he stopped talking, which, you know, as a kid, my only vivid memory when people ask me that is standing there grabbing him, talking to him, and him trying to talk to me, and me and him just crying, and he's trying to, and he can, but he, you know.
Yeah, they kind of like paralyzed his body.
Yeah.
You feel
Once they did the surgery.
So he was grabbing my hand and he was squeezing it, and again, that's the only visual that I have left of my father the last time, and he just, tears rolling down his eyes, and I'm sitting there looking at him, and I'm just crying. And he was alive for about a week more after that, and then I just got a call, and this is probably the 3rd call that he's not with us no more. And I'm at his older brother, my uncle's house, and I was just stuck. I thought about my sister more so, you know what I mean? The girls, they were kind of going a little crazy, and it didn't hit me until maybe, you got to think, we buried him April 7th, 1995. I turned 11 April 23rd. So when something that you know, and it's just being real, is like, you turning 11, and every year for 10 straight years, here he come after work, and he gonna pick me up and we gonna go somewhere. And it just hit me like, damn, he really gone. You feel what I'm saying? Like, my pops, you know, not with me, you feel what I mean? And from that point on, and that's why I turned to the streets. That's why I turned to a lot of negativity.
Yeah.
You know, I always had a lot of stuff built up inside of me that I was just raging with, which, you know, we don't get therapy. We didn't have therapy.
Yeah.
Most kids, technically, with that much money and a daddy, they get therapy and, you know what I mean, get to cope with what's going on. I didn't.
Yeah.
It had to be an instant, just get on, put your chest up and go. So I had a lot of anger built inside of me.
When you heard, because it's obviously, there's a lot of rumors about the complications of why he died, how he died, all of those sort of things. And one of the main things, because I actually watched the documentary, I think it's on Hulu, might be on Hulu.
Yeah.
Not long ago, before I even thought about doing this with you guys, because I'm from LA, I'm gonna watch this.
Yeah.
About the AIDS complications. How did that affect your grieving process? Because there's so much being said, whether it's true, not true, where it came from, how I got there, all of those things.
It again, like I say, no therapy came, because now as all of the kids, we don't trust nothing.
Yeah.
He was killed.
Yeah.
He had this, it was 3 or 4 different times where somebody was on the floor that wasn't supposed to be on the floor.
Yeah.
A doctor is on the floor that ain't supposed to be on the floor. A doctor is over here, ain't supposed to, people on the roof trying to come. It's high security, you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when he passed away, it's like for years when you become a man, oh, now they don't know what happened with this doctor and autopsy. He was bigger than Lucille Ball at Cedars-Sinai.
Yeah.
You know, had the most visitors and all that, you know what I mean? So as a kid, I don't trust nothing. I don't know, you know what I mean? My mind is going everywhere. So then as far as, like you say, when we come from inner city, that's just gonna torment the kid to act all kind of just messed up. You feel what I'm saying? So we didn't really know nothing. You know what I mean? My grandmother saying, hey, he has what Magic Johnson has. Now I'm sitting there saying myself as a kid, well, he got more money than Magic Johnson, so how is he still alive?
Yeah.
And my daddy not.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So it just, a lot of things don't sit right with me.
Yeah.
As I get to high school, I studied and learned about that disease so much. I'm an AIDS activist. I just left Arizona going to speak for kids. I did write-up in different countries, you feel what I'm saying, in Ghana, on, you know, educating individuals about this, that is still killing a lot of us, black and brown, you feel what I'm saying, you know, whatever ways you want to call this disease. So I learned so much about it, because I was like, man, I just wanted to attack and find out so much about this thing that supposedly so-called, quote-unquote, took my father.
Yeah, so Yella, obviously, the N.W.A. broke up when they broke up, but and set the record straight for me. The rumor mill says that you was the only member at the funeral from N.W.A. Now, if that's true, I'm heartbroken right now.
No, 100%. To not even cut him off, to quote him, he gave me the shovel to bury my father. So I'm gonna tell you as his son, yes, he was the only one. He gave me.
But how could that? But how could that be? That don't.
You know something? I never asked anybody. I never asked, never discussed, never been discussed. Even when I was around Dre, around Q, never was discussed. I can sleep good at night.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Free and clear. You know, I was there till they pounded the dirt and it was over. And I'm like, Okay. Because at the funeral, you know, it's like a circus. So many people, so many cameras.
So you didn't have no time to grieve there.
I'm
It's
the
just like
only
it was a
one.
concert.
I'm like,
so many.
yeah. I'm like, I'm the only one, and I lead the coffin to the, you know, to the hearse and stuff. So it was different.
AP, what was your relationship like with him prior?
I was still cool because I saw Easy your birthday party right before he passed.
Yeah.
It was in the
In
valley.
December.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the valley.
Yeah. And that was the last time I saw your father. We was all hanging out. We was cool. You know, I was like, the reason I wasn't at the funeral, I was always, since I left first, I was kind of like on the outside. I was never invited to nothing after that anyway.
No.
So, you know, I wasn't going to try to push my way into it and, you know, show up. But yeah, we were still cool. And that was the last time I saw him, was at your birthday party.
So after Easy passed away, you released your first solo album, One More Nigga to Go, and dedicated to him. Why did you name it that?
It just like, you know, it was like, one more, hey, you know. I wasn't a rapper or anything, but I said, okay. And I did, at the funeral, when it was over, I told myself, music is done. It just went out of me. Then this company came by a year later. It was crazy. They came by for me a solo album. Priority came by me to do the greatest hits album. Like all at the same time, I'm like, what the, okay, I'll just do it, you know. It's just the money, but I just wanted to, you know, just one more to go, you know, dedicated to his dad, you know.
Yeah.
I stayed with him. You know, even when Dre asked me to leave, I never gave him an answer until 2019.
Wait, Dre asked you to leave what?
Yeah, in 91, when Dre was about to leave, he called me one early morning. He said, I'm gone. Are you coming?
Oh, leave with him.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Right then. And then I never gave him an answer until 2019. But
And what was that answer?
I just told him I didn't pick a side.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm cool with Dre, I'm cool with E.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I think God just had me don't do anything. And I just ended up with E.
Yeah. Just naturally, segue into that.
Yeah. I didn't like, oh yeah, we're gonna do. And when they did the diss songs, I wasn't in the video. None of that stuff.
This songs was good though.
Yeah. His songs ended
all diss songs, all of them was crazy. It was good. It was just the videos. 'Cause they was making a lot of videos back then. Yeah, I remember them diss songs, bro. Them diss songs was crazy. They think the Kendrick Lamar and Drake stuff is.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, y'all better go dig in the archives and see some real. So Lil E, what does it mean though to keep Pop's legacy alive?
Everything, you know what I mean? I'm grateful for it. I feel like, you know, in all instances, you think this was like, you know, kind of my lane and my calling, you know what I mean? They never been nowhere out the country, right?
London, that's
London,
it.
London. And me and him, after the movie came, we've been everywhere.
At least 100 places out the country.
Yeah, 100 countries. So, you know, I mean, I look at it when I go there, humbling as it is, you know what I mean? Individuals be like, hey, we can never see him, and we have never got a chance to see him. But once I sit here and found out you was his son, I brought my son to the show so he could sit here and see what I witnessed at that. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, you know, it kind of touched me, you know what I mean? Like I said, we'd have been 100 places, and hey, I guess that was my lane, that continuous legacy. And I started it, Keyshawn, because of the fact of, you know, back then, when I was going in high school, you got a lot of Tupacs and Biggies, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They you know, of course, because, you know, me, myself, to be real, is because of possibly how my father died.
Yes.
So we just gonna kind of shed away from that, as opposed to what we want to highlight. Oh, gun violence between, you know what I mean, brothers and, you know, this, that, and the other. So let's put it this way, like, they didn't start this stuff, you feel what I'm saying? They're not the originators of this, you feel what I mean? And no disrespect to them, I'm fans of them and everything. It's just, you're not gonna forget who really put this thing on, you feel what I'm saying? From the city, so that's my journey. I didn't do it no accolades for myself. I did it to make sure that he was remembered.
Give me one of your dad's best bars. Like, what's the best of all
I said
time?
it for you earlier. Lyrical modern creation. Lil Eazy on the set, hyped up with the bass and a little bit of what you love from a brother who's smooth like a criminal. I mean subliminal, otherwise known as a villain. Because I'm ruthless, when I spot a sucker, I kill him. You know what I mean? That's my favorite.
The only line he remembers.
Oh man, how much does Yella mean to you, dog?
Oh, the world, brother. You feel what I'm saying? Like I say, it never stopped. You know what I'm saying? For somebody who was there from the time I laid my father to rest and still to this day, you feel what I'm saying? He just now finna break my heart and retire, you feel what I'm saying? And we done been to 100 countries, man, you feel what I'm saying? And he brought me along and I get to do it with him as a DJ, as like, you know, with my father, you feel what I'm saying? He just, you know, been in my life more than just entertainment in this field, you know what I'm saying? Just making sure I'm, you know, straight as a man.
How did y'all put that collaboration together though? Like, how did it come about?
Oh man,
Other than obviously he been knowing you since you came out.
The MTV.
yeah. I did, matter of fact, we both did. We got, when I first got into the game.
Some kind of dedication to his dad on
the
MTV.
Hip Hop Honors. Remember the Hip Hop Honors back in the days? On VH1? VH1 Hip Hop Honors?
I don't remember. I kind of sort of vaguely remember.
Yeah,
But
so we did VH1 Hip Hop Honors and we got called in and they wanted this when I first got signed, and they wanted to sit here and dedicate a dedication to my father. You know, Russell Simmons was there, Cube was there. So we thought about it and we kind of put it together. We was like, hey, okay, cool, we gonna bring out Bone Thugs and Harmony, Yella, you gonna DJ it, and you know, they wanted to go, you know, a new generation that kind of got homage from your father. So we brought out Young Jeezy and we performed, and that was my first time. And actually in front of Russell Simmons and Cube, and be like, man, he moved just like his daddy. From that point on, me and him just, hey, we gonna do this. It's gonna take off. I'm gonna do all pop songs and we gonna go for it.
so you got them all though. Like you.
What, everything? I don't know what he talking about. I got everything.
You know,
You got everything.
you don't remember.
So look, so the Straight Outta Compton movie is made, right?
Yeah.
Got to talk about the movie a little bit. What was your involvement? You guys' involvement?
Well, you know, you just again, me being a knucklehead, they scared the mess out of Jason and made it seem like he was supposed to stay away from me. I was upset that I didn't get the role and I was gonna tie him up and take him to Compton and all that, and this, that, and the other. And he literally told me this.
Who's Jason?
Jason Mitchell, who played my father.
Oh, okay.
So he told me this. And so when he first got to LA, he said, you know what, dog, you know what I mean? I'm from New Orleans, you know what I mean? I just gotta pay homage, and the first thing I had to do is I had to call you, you know what I mean, see, you know, get your blessing and all that. And I said, man, come on, dog, you feel what I'm saying? Do what you do. Because the thing about it, let me touch on Keyshawn, is I respect F. Gary Gray and Dre, when I think it was Nipsey and Kendrick show at the Novo, and I was going in there, and they knew I was there. They had me brought into their room, and they're like, hey, we seen your rehearsal. We called you back. You had another rehearsal, you know, because people always, oh, why don't you play your daddy? F. Gary Gray said, I just didn't know asking you how to play your father dying. And I downed on that, and I'm like, damn, you're right. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, just out of respect, you know, us asking you lose drastic weight because, quote unquote, you're supposed to be sick, and playing that role of your father dying. And I'm like, you real? I wouldn't have done. I couldn't have done that. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't. And I respect, you know, you even, you know, to have this conversation with me, keeping it real. So Jason called, and I'm like, man, I'm proud of you, dog. And this is the biggest role you finna get in your life. You finna play that man. You feel what I'm saying? So when he got to LA, me and Yella had a show with D.O.C at the convention center. Yeah. So he came there and he watched me perform. You feel what I'm saying? He's like, man, cool. I took him to Calabasas to a DJ Mustard party. We rolling by ourselves solo. Took him to Roscoe's and Chicken, you feel what I'm saying? Everything. And it was crazy because I remember this story. He had his, you know, sweater tied around his waist.
Just like a cornball.
Like,
You see me shake my head, I'm like.
with some loafers on. So we had DJ Mustard party. He like, man, I should have stopped and got dressed. I said, check this out, man. Do you know, man, forget all these. Do you know who you finna be in a couple of months to a year? You feel me? What you playing? Like, you finna be big. Like, stay this way. Don't try to, you know what I mean? But I guess, you know, he trying to go into character already. You know,
yeah.
I want to look the part, you know what I mean? And I'm like, man, chill it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, lead us to what it is. It's rapping stuff. You finna be on the big screen playing that man. You feel what I'm saying? So
Did he do a good job too? He portrayal was good?
I ain't gonna lie to you.
You was satisfied?
Very much. Yeah, he did his thing. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's my dog. He did his thing. Jason did his thing.
But why? Let me ask you this though. Why you think you didn't get it, but O'Shea got to play Cube?
Well, in an aspect too, just like I said down with Cube, is like, I can't knock no man doing what he's supposed to do right by his son.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't have nobody that will represent me, get me ready a year, 2 years in advance for that. You know, outside of the fact of what F. Gary Gray said, playing him, you know, passing away, but they gave me an opportunity. But don't think, and then, you know, we got all that media stuff. Oh, you know, he's mad at the group. They thought I was getting the set shot up in Compton.
I was about to say, I think you get ready to.
Man, boom. For real, Keyshawn, like the set was getting
Tams
shot
number
up
5 getting ready to get blown.
Seriously, and they was really like I got calls from Suge's homies. I got a call from Suge. I got a call from Kibo. I got a call from everybody. Like, man, E, you know what I'm saying? They saying that, you know, most of these little homies, and they was red rag. They was in red rag.
Yeah.
So they think, you know, but I got love all around my city. You know what I'm saying? Red, this is how it is. Once you became a man, you feel what I'm saying? And they thinking that I'm sending all kind of halos just to the set and everything, until my sister was going on the set every day, and she overheard them talking. And she said, my brother don't care about this. Y'all just ain't invited him. And Cube's wife and Kibo heard that. And next thing you know, Kibo got me on the phone with Cube, and they invited me to the set. And like, man, like, you know, got that stigma off me. Like, man, I ain't.
So it sounded like Cube was keeping it a buck, and everybody else was trying to muck it up.
Yeah, Cube kept it 100. You know what I mean? Him, Kibo, and his wife and everything. So, you know, they got me up there. And when I got on set, I coached Jason for that lyric, that verse that I just spit to you. You know what I mean? You know, how he's supposed to perform that We Want Easy song. You know what I mean? You gotta grab the audience. Yeah, you gotta grab the audience, because when he came out, he knew it. He was that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my thing. You feel what I mean? And that's just how you gotta do. So that was my involvement in it, my small involvement. You know what I mean? Yella more so was there all the time. You know?
But he didn't ask me my involvement.
He did.
I just said it. You didn't hear it? That's what it was.
Yeah, you know, I get it. You ain't gotta. The people want to know. I don't. You know.
That was my involvement.
I know AP. You was one of the founding members of the actual group N.W.A, but you was left out of the movie.
So here's the funny thing. My
off?
character was there. Somebody sent me photos of the actor playing me on set.
But they put it on the floor.
Yeah.
On the cutting floor.
Yeah,
They didn't
and
even use
there's some political stuff behind that. They ain't got nothing to do with N.W.A. It got to do with who actually owned the whole Ruthless thing. Because I had some legal issues that I took care of back in the day.
With Tamika.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't need to dive into it. I get it. I understand it. I get it. I'm from, you know.
You keeping it real.
You know. So do y'all ever, and I know the movie, but do y'all ever think that maybe y'all get a nice N.W.A tour going again for like a... What, man? I'm just asking.
After the movie,
Just one show one show at the Coliseum or some shit.
Man?
One show.
We've been talking, what?
Just one show
You got
with
sense.
everybody. Think about it. One show with everybody. Then you bring in a little Snoop. Whatever Dre's acts are, you bring his acts. And then whatever y'all got, y'all bring in the one.
Listen, you talking just as much as
one
you
anniversary tour type
What?
thing.
He talking just how we talking.
you know,
makes sense.
when the movie came out, everybody around the world wanted us. That's why we did the BET experience when he was locked up in jail.
Okay, but
Me, Ren, and Q. That was the first time we've been on stage
So you,
together.
Ren, and Cube.
But Dre didn't do it. So that was the first time we've been on stage together in 20 years.
Yeah.
First time. But then maybe a few months later, we did Coachella.
Yeah.
Dre was there. So after that, people like,
So
okay,
it was you, Dre, Cube,
and Ren.
at Coachella.
And he
Lil
he
E.
did his daddy
He
song.
looked out. And I'm gonna tell the story because I love him. I love him for it. Q was. I was locked up, like he said, so I didn't make it, and I spent my birthday in jail. Mm-hmm. So then I get a call, hey, just show up for this rehearsal. And I'm like, you know, they supposed to be going on doing a show. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Well, it actually was show for rehearsal. When I get there, Dre's people pull up, Game's people pull up. You know what I mean? I'm talking to Dub, and Dub C kind of like said, he like, man, I'm glad they brought you Outta, so I'm still lost. So we get inside, you know, a studio like this, and all of them, Yella, Cube, Ren, Dre, standing there. I'm pulling my phone out. I'm like, oh man, you ain't seen them in a long time. Man, since I was a kid all together. So he said, this is what we gonna do. Everybody put your phones up. We don't want nobody recording. I'm like, oh dang. Kept my phone up. Mm-hmm. He said, we gonna do this, we gonna run through this, and then this is where you come in. And he pointed at me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, what? And he like, oh yeah, happy birthday. And I'm going to go do Coachella with all of them. And just like you said though, we brought Game and Kendrick.
Okay.
All of us performed in Coachella. You feel what I'm saying? And like, man, I was like, Q was happy about it. We were supposed to hit the ground running.
After that.
You feel what I'm saying? I came out, did Boys in the Hood with Q, rode on a low rider bike, did Pop's Park. You feel what I'm saying? Similar to what me and him toured the world and did together. You feel what I'm saying? And then they had Kendrick come on at a later point, Game come on at a later point, hit the ground running. And from that point on, he could tell you more about it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wanted us. I mean, stadiums, just
We could
stadiums.
just do Europe. We could do Australia, UK,
You know, it
10
just,
shows and be done.
It's supposed to have been Snoop, Eminem, you know.
Just the whole everybody.
Yeah, powerhouse.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. It just
Didn't get put together.
couldn't get together.
He know.
Yeah.
He won't say it. He won't say it.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, I kind of know too, but I ain't gonna say it.
Yeah.
You
On the
know.
real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get it.
We're
I
gonna
get
talk back there later.
Yeah,
But you
I
ain't
get it.
on the real.
I mean, I get it 100%, but that's, you know, that's how it is. Yella, what do you make about the current state of hip hop where we at right now?
You know, it's different. It ain't the same as the old school. Because back in the old school, each group had its own identity, certain sound. It wasn't too many of them. Now it's so many. Well, it's not really groups no more. There's so many individuals rapping, and it's making a lot of money. I don't know who's getting the money, but there's a lot of money being made. A lot of downloads, and it's different. It's harder. It's really, who's the superstars now? You can't even hardly pick
Well,
Kendrick.
they set themselves apart. The
Yeah.
superstars set themselves apart.
Yeah, it's. I guess it might be because it's too many. It's too much competition, and nobody just really just sets the stage. You know, from whatever coast they from, whatever it is. It's back then. The golden era was the '80s and the '90s to me.
Yeah, it's all about the money right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What would you change, if anything, about the way the industry is in the rap game?
Probably, I would change how they making money, because they're not making money off these downloads. I don't know.
They
get
making money off something.
shows and, you know,
Touring.
but the people that's putting it out is making the money.
They making the real money.
Yeah, that's the big dogs. It's just, I don't know. It's just now you can just get your phone, do a rap, and you can become famous overnight.
Yeah,
So
TikTok and all of that.
it ain't no, the talent.
Oversaturated. Yeah, you
Yeah.
take the oversaturation of artists
Yeah.
out.
Back then, you had to have some talent to be able to get on the record.
Yeah.
Okay, ain't no booty stuff coming on that. Now, anybody, I don't care what it is. It's a whole different world now.
Just imagine if where the rap game and the music game in general is in terms of hip hop today was the same way back when y'all was performing and y'all had the opportunity to perform at the Super Bowl like Kendrick Lamar. How when y'all look at Kendrick Lamar coming from Compton and being in center stage at Super Bowl 59 in by far the largest audience to ever watch the halftime.
Over the Dre one?
The largest audience.
I like Dre's show better than Kendrick.
No, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
just the
There was a lot-
the
oh,
fact
really?
that Kendrick could represent the city of Compton.
Oh, yeah. That's
Oh yeah, he tip his hat. That's just,
I mean, that's just amazing itself.
Yeah.
That we had two Compton within a
Compton
few years.
back to back.
Within a few years.
Man, that'd have been crazy. Look, I just thought about that, my own damn question. That'd have been crazy as hell if they'd have let y'all back in the day, but they would have never let it happen. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if
Oh, yeah.
they would have, man, could y'all have got to think about my fucking
Mouth-
police, man.
Yeah.
Man, them folks would have went, they was going crazy at Kendrick.
Yeah.
They was losing their mind of the way he performed. I can only imagine if N.W.A.
Yeah.
had got the opportunity to perform.
Oh, yeah.
And I wonder if we could rewind it and put the same people as in charge, Jay-Z and all them in charge, would he have signed off on an N.W.A. to perform at the Super Bowl?
No.
I mean I can't see why he wouldn't. Yeah, I would think that you should give homage to that.
I know, but what song?
We'll pick
That
it
would be
out.
true too, though. Huh? Like, what song?
What song? Radio? Express yourself?
Yeah.
Express yourself. I mean, I'm sure you could find something, but
Yeah.
Well, straight out of Compton, I guess.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can do
yeah,
it.
Yeah, you get away with that.
Okay.
you know, but K-Dot didn't do every lyric.
No.
I mean, he crossed some stuff out and changed some stuff up. So
You cross out the N.W.A. stuff, it's instrumental.
Yeah, well, yeah, you definitely.
Hey, tell them the story though about when Straight Outta Compton first came out, and Walmart called and wanted a clean version. You remember that? I was talking
Yeah,
to
we
Shirley
were the
about
first to make
Right.
clean whole albums.
that. Didn't want to do it.
Because the Walmarts, the Targets, you know.
They didn't want to sell it.
Nah, no, not at all.
But how could you make it? But how could
We made 'em.
But how? What did you change?
You
like?
just change, you know, some of the words you change.
Yeah, sucker.
Yeah, you just change.
flip
You
the
call it
upside
the sucker.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all. the
I
two
can't remember
ends.
how it sound, but we did
Yeah,
whole album.
I had a few of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had a lot
They
of
said
them.
most of them came back though, in returns.
Is that right? Because they wanted the authentic,
kids
the
wanted
real,
the real
they were the real stuff.
Yeah.
My brain. Listen to my son and daughter sometime with, my brain, man. I be like, oh Lord, have mercy, because they just,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So tell me, N.W.A.'s legacy and what y'all want it to be.
I would think we just did what we wanted to, and it just took off.
Original.
I mean, we didn't try to make the police song just for the controversy, for the FBI. You know, we didn't try. We just did what we wanted to do. We liked it. And if they like it, great. If they didn't, still great. But the world liked it. I mean, because N.W.A, when that movie came out, around the world instantly, overnight. I mean, we go to places, 15-year-olds recite every lyric. I'm like, it wasn't even a thought when we did this song. And it just, I mean, even to this day right now, it's selling more
Now,
music now than it did back then.
It's crazy.
the originators, you know what I mean?
I mean, 30 years later, we go #1 again. #1. And I'm trying to think, even the Offsprings, Dre, Cube, look at all that came. Eminem, Snoop.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of, is there another group? Rock and roll, whatever. Did that much come from a group?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, West Side.
Yeah, the tree is impeccable.
Oh, yeah.
Because you got a group and you got at least five solo acts that left that group that then had offsprings, like you said, of groups, then had offsprings of groups who
Yeah.
had offspring. Everybody started
I don't think it's another group.
No, I don't think so either. Not even in rock and roll or nothing.
In the breakup at #1. We was #1 and we just dissolved, disintegrated.
Which group did that? Yeah.
Who you listen to now, AP, in the music business, the rap game?
Tyler, another LA boy. You know, he's from Hawthorne.
Tyler.
Tyler the Creator.
Well, I can't listen to that shit.
Nah, but you know what, you got to, because
No, I just
he
said
steps
it ain't.
outside the box. You know, always looking at what's hot and outside the box, because everything else.
Why you laughing, man?
sounds great. You know?
Why you laughing? I can't get down like that.
Me too.
Yeah, I just can't,
Still
man.
got that real LA in you, man. They gonna leave you.
Dochi hot.
Okay.
Dochi real hot. She the next one. Like the next one for a while.
No, I hear you.
Yeah, but other than that, dude, I'm listening to Zap. I'm more balanced and Parliament Funkadelic all day. That's me.
What about you, Yella?
Basically nothing. Because I done so much music in the studio.
Your head gonna explode.
I'm like, I'm good. I can just drive, just no music.
How many songs you think that you've worked on in your career? I don't care if you was from beginning to end or just a little snippet.
That's a bunch of albums. I don't know. 40, 50.
Songs.
No, 40, 50?
Songs?
Come on.
Well, 40,
You got
50
more than
damn
40, 50
songs. You got CTE or some shit, man.
I don't know.
Think about what I had. Think about the question. Think about the question I just asked you. Songs,
Yeah.
not albums. You worked on 40, 50 albums for N.W.A. and goddamn long. I'm talking about just songs.
Yeah, we had.
Gotta be at least 100 or more. Because
Right.
I've done more than 500, 600 in my career.
I mean,
Songs.
it's just,
Yeah, he there, man.
it's a lot.
It's songs people don't know he worked on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm not
You
gonna
don't
say
talk about-
nothing.
You don't want to talk about that.
I'm not gonna say nothing.
No, it's funny you say that because I went to a Quincy Jones concert. I don't know, man. That shit might have been 10 years ago or so. I didn't know Quincy Jones did all the shit he did till I went to the concert at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah. Oh,
I was like,
Oh, yeah.
He did what? He did what? Because I just didn't know.
Yeah.
He wrote
Man,
that stuff
all that
down.
from Sanford and Son theme song
really?
to that. Man, there was so much stuff I had no idea Quincy Jones had his hands in.
No.
It was wild. What about you, Lil E? Who you listening to?
Oh man, if it's anybody new in the nature, of course, I always checking on Kendrick. Like when you ask that question, I tip your hat off. He's my generation, a little younger than me, but they put on for the city, and he said it early in his career what inspired him to sit here and do what he did. Probably every rapper at Compton that came to, even back to DJ Quick and on. My pops.
Damn, I forgot DJ Quick was from Compton.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I guess I think he's from the Valley.
Even earlier when you asked me, I forgot to say the other first album was Mossberg album, Rest in Peace, which is Quick, which to me would have been the next Biggie on the West Coast. I don't know if you remember Mossberg.
Yeah, Mossberg.
Not off the top of my dome, I don't.
Yeah.
I just saw Quick in the Valley not too long ago.
So,
Still looking like Quick too.
Yeah.
I remember shit. I'm like, come on, man. We getting ready to go into 2026 in a minute, man. You still walk around with perms and shit.
Real talk.
Man, I appreciate y'all, man. This is a blessing, and I've always been an N.W.A. fan, and for life, even though I'm from South Central versus Compton, but we all the same.
But you stayed there a couple of years.
Yeah, for sure.
You earned it.
Man, I know about Tams or Tom's Burger, whatever that is.
You said it?
Yeah, I know. Come on now.
Chili cheese fries, you mess with 'em?
Give me a Tams #1. Extra tomato and pickle. Onions is cool. Give me the fries, and I want the high C. Give me the red high C. Come on now.
The chili cheese fries?
That's once I start playing football, then I can go to the ones in South Central and get the chili cheese fries and the burger and put me to sleep. Because you're gonna go right to bed.
Yeah.
Bam. And all that's gonna cost you is $4.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna get it. And then in the morning, if I want the pancakes, they had the big old pancakes,
Super
motherfucking pancakes.
You know.
Man, come on, you know I know. Pancakes this goddamn thick.
Real
and they
talk.
giving you 3 of them.
Yeah, my kids tripped out. Just like, Daddy, y'all used to have it good. It only cost y'all $5, $6 to eat like that? Yeah.
I don't know what's in the food, but I probably wouldn't eat it now.
Nah.
That's for sure.
Nah.
Man, I appreciate it, man. I thank y'all for coming out, dog.
You already know it, brother, for sure.
It sounds just like his daddy, though. I don't know how that is.